Don't die, I still need you. Would you risk your life for a stranger bleeding in the rain? Ria Solis did, and that one choice changed everything. The alley behind Seoul's night market glowed red and blue. Neon signs reflected off puddles like shattered glass. Ria's leather jacket hung torn at the shoulder, exposing a bleeding gash. Her gun nearly empty. 3 bullets left, maybe 4. Behind her, professional footsteps echoed, patient, the kind that didn't stop until the job was done. She turned the corner and froze. A young man, Korean, maybe 24, crumpled against a dumpster while 3 thugs from the Onyx Fist gang took turns with their fists. His face was swollen, bleeding, but his eyes, those eyes found hers through the rain and the red light. And they spoke without words. Please, don't leave me behind. Ria had a choice. Run and survive. Stop and risk everything. The assassins were 10 seconds away. She chose in 2. Ria crossed the alley in 4 strides. The thugs barely registered her presence before she fired. 1 bullet. Clean. The first man dropped. The second swung at her. She ducked, drove her elbow into his ribs, and shot him point blank. The third ran. She let him. The young man stared up at her, rain streaming down his face. "Don't die," she said. Her voice cut through the storm, cold, but her eyes wavered. "I still need you." She hooked her arm under his shoulders and lifted him onto her shoulder in one fluid motion. He was heavier than he looked, taller. His shallow breathing warmed her neck. Behind them, the assassins rounded the corner. Ria fired her last 2 bullets without looking back. A grunt, a thud, silence. She carried him through the rain toward the black SUV waiting 3 blocks away. His blood soaked into her jacket. For 1 second, just one, she felt something she hadn't allowed herself in years. Responsibility for another person's survival. Kai woke to the smell of dried blood and cold metal. His ribs screamed when he tried to sit up. Every muscle protested. His face felt like meat that had been tenderized. The room around him pulsed with dim red light. Industrial bulbs casting burnt orange shadows across concrete walls that looked like they'd survived decades of violence. The bed beneath him was cold iron, barely softer than the street. Medical supplies sat on a metal tray nearby. Someone had cleaned his wounds, bandaged him, kept him alive. He blinked once, twice. Shapes emerged from the shadows. People, 6, maybe 8. All dressed in black, moving through combat drills in perfect synchronization, like dancers who'd memorized death itself. One woman executed a spinning kick that would have shattered a jaw. Another disassembled and reassembled a pistol in under 10 seconds. The underground base felt like something built to survive wars or start them. The air smelled like gun oil and determination. A woman's voice cut through the haze. "You're awake." Kai turned his head slowly. Pain shot down his neck. She sat on a high chair 20 feet away, legs crossed, perfectly still. The woman from the rain. Up close, she was sharper than he remembered. Tall, late 20s, skin like polished mahogany that seemed to glow even in the red light. Eyes like embers buried under ash, dark, dangerous, mesmerizing. Hair pulled back in a tight bun that exposed the elegant line of her jaw. Beautiful in a dangerous way, the kind of beautiful that made men forget to breathe. "Where am I?" His voice cracked, dry throat. How long had he been unconscious? Somewhere safe. She stood and walked toward him, boots clicking on concrete with military precision, each step purposeful, predatory. or somewhere that will end you. Depends on what you choose. Kai tried to stand. His legs gave out immediately. She caught his elbow before he hit the floor, her reflexes faster than his falling body. Her grip was firm, warm, strong enough to hold him, but gentle enough not to hurt his bruised flesh. She pulled him close, so close their faces nearly touched, so close he could count her eyelashes. He could smell rain still clinging to her jacket, mixed with gunpowder and something floral he couldn't name. Jasmine, maybe, or night-blooming flowers. "Why did you save me?" he asked. Rhea studied him like a puzzle she hadn't decided to solve. Her eyes moved across his face, cataloging details, assessing, calculating. "Because I saw you didn't want to die." She paused. "And I need people like that." "Need me for what?" She smiled, half-hearted, sharp, but undeniably captivating. The kind of smile that promised danger and possibility in equal measure. To become something better than what you were. Kai looked around the room again, his mind starting to clear despite the throbbing in his skull. The people in black weren't just training, they were preparing, sharpening blades with whetstones, the scraping sound rhythmic and menacing. Loading magazines with practiced efficiency. One woman, Asian, maybe 30, with a scar running down her left cheek, disassembled a sniper rifle with the efficiency of someone who'd done it 1,000 times. She caught him looking and held his gaze. No emotion, just assessment. On the walls he saw maps, photographs, weapons mounted like trophies. This wasn't a gym. This wasn't even a training facility. "This is a criminal operation," Kai said carefully, testing the words, testing her reaction. Rhea didn't blink, didn't flinch. "This is survival, and you just became part of it." She stepped back, giving him space, but not freedom. "You have 24 hours to decide if you want to stay. If you leave, I won't stop you." Her gaze hardened, ember eyes flashing. "But the streets will. The onyx fist doesn't forget faces, especially not yours. They'll hunt you down within 48 hours. And this time, no one will stop them from finishing what they started." Kai's hands trembled. Not from fear, from something sharper. Rage, maybe. Or hunger for something he'd never been allowed to want. Something he'd never even been allowed to imagine. Power, choice, agency. A reason to wake up tomorrow that didn't involve begging for scraps or swallowing humiliation. "What if I stay?" he asked. "Then you train, you fight, you become someone who doesn't need saving." Rhea tilted her head, studying him with renewed interest. "But it won't be easy. Suffering is the only teacher here, and she's not a gentle instructor." Kai met her eyes. For the first time in years, he felt something stir in his chest. Not hope. Hope was too fragile, too easily crushed. Something harder, more resilient. Determination. The kind forged in years of beatings and hunger. The kind that didn't break. "I'll stay," he said. His voice didn't shake. Rhea's expression shifted, just barely. A crack in the armor. Something almost like approval flickered across her face before she locked it down. "Good. Rest today. Tomorrow we see what you're made of." She turned to leave, then paused at the door. "One more thing. What's your name?" "Kai. Kai Min Jun." "Kai." She tested the name on her tongue. "I'm Rhea Solace. Welcome to the Ember Circle." The door closed behind her with a metallic clang that echoed like a prison cell locking. Or maybe, Kai thought, like a cage door opening. He wasn't sure which yet. The strategy room smelled like old paper and gun oil. Maps lined the walls: Seoul, Busan, Incheon, even parts of Tokyo and Hong Kong, marked with red pins and routes Kai didn't understand. Shipping lanes, safe houses, territory markers, weapons hung in glass cases like museum pieces. Files stacked on metal shelves, each one presumably containing someone's life story or death sentence. Ria spread a folder across the metal table. The sound of paper on steel seemed too loud in the silence. Kai's name sat at the top in bold print. Seeing it there, official, documented, real, made his chest tighten. Beneath it, photos he didn't remember being taken. Outside the convenience store where he used to work for less than minimum wage. At the shelter where he slept some nights when the streets got too dangerous. Being shoved into an alley by the Onyx Fist thugs, his face frozen in an expression of resigned acceptance. That was the worst part, not the violence, the resignation. Kai Min-jun, Ria read aloud. 24, orphan, no living family. Parents died in a factory fire when you were 7. Bounced through foster homes until you aged out at 18. Worked as a porter for illegal shipments until you refused an order 6 months ago. She looked up. They beat you for saying no. That takes courage or stupidity, haven't decided which. Kai stared at the photos, his life reduced to grainy images and bureaucratic notes. A file that could fit in someone's palm. That was all he amounted to. How did you get all this? I get everything. Ria closed the file, her fingers drumming once on the cover. The question isn't how, it's what you're going to do with the second chance I'm offering. She leaned against the table, arms crossed. Behind her, through a window, Kai could see another room where people trained. A man practicing knife throws. A woman doing pull-ups with weights strapped to her legs. This wasn't just survival. This was war, and she was the general. You have 2 choices, Ria said. Her voice was calm, clinical, like she was offering him coffee or tea, not life or death. Go back to the streets and die within a week. The Onyx Fist has already put a price on your head, small but enough. Or stay here, train, and become my blade. Your blade. Kai's voice came out harder than he intended. My weapon, my tool, mine. She didn't flinch, didn't apologize. I see something in you that no one else saw. Hidden power, strength buried under years of beatings and humiliation. You have survival instincts that kept you alive when others would have broken. You could be extraordinary. Kai's jaw tightened. Every instinct screamed to run. But where? Back to the alleys where every shadow held a threat. Back to being kicked and starved and used like trash. Back to swallowing rage until it poisoned him from the inside. He looked at Ria, really looked. Her face showed nothing, perfectly controlled. But her eyes. Something flickered there. Not kindness. Something older. Something that recognized his pain because she'd felt it too. Loneliness, maybe. Or the bone-deep exhaustion of carrying too much for too long. She'd been shattered once too. I choose life, Kai said. His voice didn't shake, didn't waver. And I choose you. Ria's expression shifted, just barely. A crack in the armor. Her eyes widened slightly, her lips parted. For a moment, she looked vulnerable, human. Then she locked it down, rebuilt the walls. No. Her voice dropped, intimate and dangerous. You choose fire. Their eyes intersected, darkness and sparks, shadow and flame. Something passed between them, unspoken, irrevocable, a current that made the air feel charged, made his skin prickle with awareness. One rule, Rhea said. She stepped closer, close enough that he could feel the heat radiating from her body. You don't leave this place without permission. You don't ask questions I don't answer, and you don't fall in love. With who? With anyone, especially not me. She walked toward the door, her movements graceful despite the weight she carried. Then she paused, hand on the doorframe. Love is a weakness here. It gets people eliminated. It makes you hesitate, and hesitation is death. She left him alone with the maps and the guns and the terrible certainty that it was already too late. He was already falling, and from the way she'd looked at him, from the crack in her armor, he suspected she was falling too. Neither of them knew how to stop. Neither of them knew if they wanted to. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Juno, Rhea's right hand, a woman with sharp features and sharper instincts, showed Kai to his quarters. A small room, concrete walls, a bed, a footlocker, Spartan but clean. Boss doesn't save people, Juno said at the door. Her voice was flat, matter of fact. Whatever reason she had for pulling you out, it wasn't mercy. Don't forget that. I won't. Good. Juno's eyes narrowed. Because the moment you become a liability, I'll eliminate you myself. Nothing personal, just business. She left. The door didn't lock from the outside, but Kai knew better than to test that freedom yet. He lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Somewhere in the base, he could hear the rhythmic sound of someone hitting a punching bag, the distant echo of footsteps, the low murmur of voices discussing strategy. For the first time in years, Kai felt something unexpected. Not safety, not quite, but possibility. The possibility that he could become something more than a victim, more than a body that absorbed violence. He closed his eyes and saw Rhea's face, those ember eyes, that crack in her armor. Tomorrow the real work began. The first week nearly ended him. Day 1. Rhea woke him at dawn. No explanation, no warning, just a towel thrown at his face and a command. Follow me. The training room was brutally lit, white fluorescent lights that made every bruise visible, every weakness exposed. No shadows to hide in, no mercy in the brightness. Rhea stood in the center, wearing black training gear that hugged her frame. Hair pulled back in a tight braid, barefoot, ready. We start with basics, she said. Tolerance. She didn't ease him in. She struck him hard, an open palm to his chest that sent him stumbling backward. Kai's vision blurred. He stumbled but stayed upright through sheer stubbornness. Get up, Rhea commanded. No sympathy, no pause. I am up, Kai managed. She struck him again. This time he fell. The mat beneath him was thin. His back hit concrete. I said, get up. He did, pain screaming through his already injured ribs. She struck him again and again, each time he fell, each time he rose. By the 10th fall, his body screamed for mercy. By the 20th, something else awakened, rage. Pure, clean, powerful rage that burned through the pain. The next time she swung, he blocked. Barely. His arm shook with the effort, but he blocked. Rhea smiled. It transformed her face, made her look younger, almost playful. Better, much better. They trained for 3 hours. When it ended, Kai could barely walk. Rhea handed him a bottle of water and a protein bar. Why do you train me yourself? Kai asked between gasps. Don't you have people for this? I do. Rhea took a sip from her own water bottle. But I need to see what you're made of. Need to know if you'll break. Most people break by day 3. What day is it? Day 1. Kai almost laughed. Almost. Day 5. Knife training. Rhea circled him like a predator, blade in hand. The fluorescent lights caught the steel, made it flash like silver lightning. Defend yourself, she lunged. Kai dodged, too slow. The blade nicked his shoulder. Not deep, just enough to remind him this was real. Just enough to draw blood. The cut stung, burned, made his eyes water. You're thinking too much, Rhea said. She didn't pause, didn't give him time to process. Stop thinking, feel. She attacked again. This time, Kai's body moved before his mind caught up. Muscle memory from years of dodging fists in alleys. He caught her wrist, twisted, and disarmed her in one motion that surprised them both. They stood frozen, his hand on her wrist, her face inches from his, bodies too close. He could feel her pulse under his fingers. Fast, strong, alive. Very good, Rhea whispered. Her breath smelled like mint tea. Neither of them moved. The moment stretched. Dangerous, electric. Something passed between them that had nothing to do with the training, and everything to do with the way her body felt against his. Then Rhea stepped back, cleared her throat, rebuilt her walls. Again. They trained until Kai could disarm her 3 times out of 5. When she finally called the session, sweat dripped down both their faces. Kai's shirt was soaked through. Rhea's braid had come partially undone, tendrils of hair framing her face. Suffering is good, Rhea said, pressing a cold bottle of water into his hands. Their fingers brushed. The contact lasted a second too long. It teaches you to live, to fight, to survive. It teaches you what you're willing to endure. And for who? Kai drank. The water tasted like metal and victory. Is that why you train so hard? Because you suffered? Rhea's expression closed. We're not there yet. Where? The place where I tell you my story. She turned away. Shower, rest. Tomorrow we go harder. Day 10, close combat, full contact. Rhea didn't hold back. She swept Kai's legs and drove him to the mat with enough force to knock the wind from his lungs. Before he could recover, she straddled him, knee on his chest, full weight pinning him down. Her face hovered above his, both breathing hard, hearts pounding in synchronization. Never let your opponent get on top, she said, her voice rough, strained. Once they have the high ground, you're finished. But she didn't move. Neither did he. The training room fell away. The fluorescent lights dimmed in his peripheral vision. Just them, just breath and heat, and the terrible awareness of every point where their bodies touched. Kai's hands found her hips, not to push her away, just to touch, just to feel the reality of her. She tensed under his palms but didn't pull away. Rhea's eyes darkened. Release me. Why? Kai's voice came out rough, raw. Because I said so. But she still didn't move. The moment stretched, tension coiling tighter, something inevitable building between them. Then she stood abruptly, stepped back, put distance between them like it physically hurt. Shower, then food. Be ready at 600 tomorrow. She left without looking back, but Kai saw her hands trembling. Day 12. Mara took over some sessions, the quiet fighter with the scar on her cheek. She taught Kai close quarters combat, pressure points, how to end a fight in 3 moves. She was efficient, brutal, impersonal. But Kai preferred Rhea's training, preferred the way she watched him. the way her eyes tracked his movements like she was memorizing every detail. Day 15. Firearms training. Rhea stood behind him at the shooting range, adjusting his grip on the Glock 19. Her chest pressed against his back. Her arms came around him, hands covering his. Warm, solid, real. "Breathe with the shot," she murmured near his ear. "Don't fight the recoil. Let it move through you." Kai fired, center mass, perfect. Again. He fired 5 more rounds. 5 perfect shots. "Perfect," Rhea said, but she didn't step away. She stayed there, pressed against him, her breath warming his neck. "You're a natural. Or I have a good teacher. Maybe both." The moment hung between them, heavy, charged. Then someone cleared their throat. Juno stood in the doorway, arms crossed, expression unreadable. "Boss, you're needed." Rhea stepped away from Kai like she'd been burned. "Right, yes." She cleared her throat. "Practice for another hour. Juno will supervise." She left, but the ghost of her touch remained, the warmth where her body had pressed against his. Juno stepped up to the firing line. "You're playing with fire," she said quietly. "I know." "Boss doesn't do relationships." Last person who got close to her ended up dead. Kai turned to look at her. Accident or on purpose? Does it matter? Juno's expression was flat. Either way, they're gone, and Boss has been colder ever since. Don't make her colder, kid. She deserves better than that. She walked away, leaving Kai alone with his thoughts and the smell of gunpowder. Week 3. Kai transformed. His eyes sharpened. His stance grew stronger. His movements more fluid. The bruises faded. New muscle replaced the hollow spaces starvation had carved. But more than that, his spirit changed. He stopped flinching, stopped apologizing for taking up space, stopped making himself small. He became someone who could look another person in the eye and not waver. Rhea watched, more than was necessary, more than was safe. One evening after training, Kai found her on the roof of the base. She sat on the edge, legs dangling over the side, looking at the city lights in the distance. "Shouldn't you be resting?" she asked without turning around. "Shouldn't you?" "I don't rest well." Kai sat beside her, not touching but close. "Nightmares?" "Memories worse than nightmares." They sat in silence for a while. The city hummed below them. Cars, people, life moving forward while they existed in this strange in-between space. "Thank you," Kai said finally, "for saving me, for training me, for giving me a reason to want to wake up." Rhea turned to look at him. Her eyes were soft in the moonlight, vulnerable. "Don't thank me yet. You don't know what I'm training you for." "Does it matter?" "It should." "Why?" "Because once you know, you might hate me." Her voice broke slightly. "And I'm not ready for that." Before Kai could respond, she stood. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow we spar." She left him alone on the roof with the city lights and the terrible certainty that he was in love with someone who was preparing to break his heart. 3 weeks in. Kai woke from a nightmare gasping. In the dream, he was back in the alley. Fists rained down like a storm he couldn't escape. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't fight back. Just endless violence and the cold certainty that no one would come. That he would die there, forgotten, just another body in the gutter. Except she had come. She'd stopped. She'd chosen him. Kai sat up, clutching his chest. His heart hammered so hard it hurt. The room, a small soundproof space, Rhea had given him after the first week, glowed with amber lighting from the single lamp. Softer than the red bunker, almost gentle, almost kind. He tried to slow his breathing, tried to convince himself it was just a dream. But his hands shook, his whole body shook. The phantom sensation of fists hitting flesh lingered on his skin. The door opened. Rhea stepped inside, still dressed in her training gear. She must have been working late, planning, strategizing, whatever she did in those late hours when sleep wouldn't come. She looked at him, took in his shaking hands, his drenched shirt, the wild look in his eyes, and understood immediately. She didn't ask what was wrong. She never asked. She just knew. She crossed the room and sat on the edge of his bed. Close, real, solid. "Breathe," she said. Her voice was soft, gentle in a way he'd never heard before. "Deep when I count. Ready?" Kai nodded. He'd do anything she asked right now, anything to make the panic stop. In 2, 3, 4. She placed her hand on his chest, right over his heart. Her palm was warm, steady, an anchor in the storm. Hold, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. They breathed together. His heartbeat slowed under her palm. The warmth of her hand seeped through his shirt, through his skin, straight to his core. Gradually, the panic receded, like a tide pulling back from shore. Their faces were close, so close, air mingling between them with each exhale. He could see every detail of her face, the small scar above her left eyebrow, the gold flecks in her dark eyes, the way her lips were slightly parted. "Better?" she asked. "Yeah." His voice came out rough, broken. "Why do you care?" The question hung between them. Dangerous, honest, the kind of question that demanded real answers. "I don't care," Rhea said, but her voice shook, betrayed her. "I need you, that's different." "Is it?" She didn't answer. Instead, she started to pull away, started to retreat back into the safety of distance. Kai caught her wrist. "Stay." "Kai, just don't leave, not yet, please." They stared at each other. The air felt thick, charged with something neither of them knew how to name. Something that had been building since the moment she stopped in the rain. Something inevitable, terrifying, real. Kai could see her pulse jumping in her throat, could feel the tension in how she held herself, like she was fighting every instinct that told her to stay, every desire that told her to lean in. He made the choice for both of them. He leaned in and pulled her close, pressing his lips to hers. Rhea went still, frozen. For a heartbeat, Kai thought he'd made a terrible mistake. Then she kissed him back, deep, fierce, desperate, like drowning and surfacing at the same time, like saving and destroying in one breath. Her hand fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, his fingers tangled in her hair, finally free from its braid. The kiss tasted like smoke and desperation, and something neither of them could take back. Years of loneliness poured into that kiss, years of walls crumbling, years of pretending not to feel. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. Rhea's eyes were wide, vulnerable, terrified, in a way that had nothing to do with physical danger and everything to do with emotional exposure. "We can't do this," she whispered. "I'm not allowed to be weak." "This isn't weakness." "Yes, it is." She stood abruptly, backing toward the door like the distance could protect her. "I can't," her voice cracked, broke. "We can't." "Why?" "Because I'll hurt you. It's what I do." It's all I know how to do." Tears gathered in her eyes but didn't fall. She wouldn't let them fall. "And you deserve better than someone who's already planning how to break you." "What does that mean?" But she was already gone. The door closed behind her with a soft click. Kai lay back, staring at the amber light overhead. He'd crossed a line tonight. They both had, and there was no going back. No pretending it hadn't happened. No unfeeling that feeling. He touched his lips. They still tingled from her kiss. Whatever she was hiding, whatever she was planning, he'd find out eventually. He just hoped it wouldn't destroy them both. 1 month in, Kai had earned limited freedom within the base. He trained daily, ate meals with the others in a communal dining area where conversations were sparse but meaningful. He learned their routines, their rhythms, their silent language of nods and glances. Mara, the quiet fighter who'd taken over some of his training, nodded at him with something close to respect. Even Juno, Ria's cold, calculating right hand, stopped watching him like he was a threat waiting to materialize. But Ria avoided him. After that night, she kept her distance, gave orders through others, watched from shadows but never approached, never trained him directly anymore. It hurt more than Kai expected, more than any physical wound. Late one night, Kai needed medication. His shoulder ached from a bad fall during knife training, a deep muscle bruise that made every movement painful. He headed to the medical supply room, a small space near the archives where they kept everything from antibiotics to surgical supplies. The door was unlocked. Inside, shelves lined with bandages, antiseptics, pills in labeled bottles. He found what he needed, ibuprofen and muscle relaxants, and turned to leave. That's when he saw it. Another door, partially open, cold blue light spilling through the gap like water from a crack in a dam. Curiosity pulled him forward. He shouldn't, he knew better. Every instinct said to walk away, take the medication and leave. But something in his gut, some sixth sense he'd developed on the streets, said to look. The archive room was lined with filing cabinets and old computers that hummed with quiet menace. And on the center table, under a single hanging bulb, a folder marked with his name in red ink. Kai's hands shook as he opened it. Inside, photos of a man he didn't recognize. Vesper Hale, sharp suit, cruel eyes that seemed to look right through the camera. Reports detailing crimes that made Kai's stomach turn. Human trafficking, assassinations, territory wars, and a fire. A fire that destroyed Ria's organization 6 years ago. 37 people dead, including her entire family, and then a photo of Kai, recent, taken during training, clipped to it, a mission brief. Operation Ember Bait. Objective, train subject Kai Min-jun as infiltration asset. Subject's history with Onyx Fist makes him ideal bait for drawing out primary target Vesper Hale, who now controls Onyx Fist operations. Deploy subject into enemy territory under false pretense. Upon mission completion, liquidate subject to eliminate witness liability and maintain operational security. Timeline: 6 to 8 weeks training. Deployment projected for end of month. Approved by R. Solace. The words blurred. Kai read them again and again. His brain refused to process what his eyes saw. Liquidate subject. End him. Use him as bait and then dispose of him like garbage. Ria had never intended to save him. She'd seen an opportunity, a tool, a Korean kid with a grudge against the Onyx Fist who could be trained and deployed and eliminated. She'd planned it from the moment she saw him bleeding in that alley. The training, the care, the kiss, all of it was manipulation, a strategy. He was never a person to her, just a weapon to be sharpened and discarded. The room spun. Kai stumbled backward, knocking into a shelf. Files scattered across the floor like fallen leaves. His chest tightened. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think past the betrayal that burned through him like acid. Everything was a lie. Everything. Kai grabbed the file and ran. The base had one exit he'd memorized, a service tunnel leading to the warehouse district. Kai moved fast, keeping to shadows, years of street survival kicking in. His heart pounded, not from exertion, from betrayal, from rage, from the terrible clarity that he'd been an idiot, a fool. He almost made it to the outer door. Going somewhere? Juno stepped out of the darkness, gun drawn. Not pointed at him, not yet, but ready, always ready. "Get out of my way," Kai said. "Can't do that." Juno's expression stayed neutral, professional. "Boss's orders. No one leaves without clearance. I'm not one of you. I'm nothing, just a body you're planning to eliminate." Kai's voice rose. "Just a piece on a chessboard she's ready to sacrifice." Juno's eyes flickered. Surprise, or something close to it. "What are you talking about?" "Ask Rhea. Ask her what Operation Emberbait means. Ask her what she's been training me for." Before Juno could respond, footsteps echoed down the corridor. Fast, urgent. Rhea appeared, running, hair loose and wild around her shoulders, eyes red-rimmed and swollen. She'd been crying. The Ember Queen, the woman who ruled through ice and fire, had been crying. "Kai," her voice broke on his name, shattered. "Please, let me explain." "Explain what?" Kai held up the file, hand shaking with rage. "How you saved me just to end me later. I read it. All of it. I was never anything but bait. A tool. A weapon you could sharpen and throw away." "You were." Rhea's voice shook. Tears streamed down her face freely now. She didn't even try to wipe them away. "At first, but what? You changed your mind? When? Before or after you kissed me?" His voice cracked. "Was that part of the plan too? Make me fall for you so I'd walk into a death trap willingly? So I'd cooperate?" "No." The word came out as a scream, raw, wounded. "I didn't plan that. I didn't plan any of this. You were supposed to be a tool, a means to an end. But you're not. You're—" "What? What am I to you?" "Everything." The word came out shattered, broken. "You're everything I didn't know I needed. Everything I've been trying not to want for 6 years. And I'm terrified because I don't know how to do this. How to love someone when love has only ever destroyed me. When everyone I've ever loved has burned." Kai wanted to believe her, desperately. But the file in his hands was real. The plan was real. The timeline said deployment was days away. "How do I trust you?" he asked, his voice small, young. "How do I trust anything you say after this?" "You can't." Rhea wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "I don't deserve your trust. I don't deserve anything from you. But I'm asking anyway. I'm begging. Give me one chance to prove I'm choosing you over the revenge that's driven me for 6 years. One chance to prove you're more than a mission." "If I leave right now, what happens?" Rhea's face crumpled. "Vesper will find you. He has people everywhere, eyes everywhere. The Onyx Fist works for him now. If you walk out that door, I can't protect you." Her voice rose, desperate, shattering. "If you betray me and walk out that door, I will hunt you to the end of the earth. Not to hurt you, God, never to hurt you, but to save you from them. Because I can't." She choked on the words. "I can't lose you. I can't watch another person I love burn." The scream echoed in the tunnel. Anguish, not anger. Desperation, not threat. The sound of someone breaking in real time. Kai stared at her, this woman who'd saved him, trained him, kissed him, planned to end him. This beautiful, shattered, dangerous woman who was sobbing in front of her subordinate. Dignity shattered, walls demolished. "I need time," he finally said, his voice hollow, empty. "Take all the time you need." Rhea stepped back, giving him space. Her hands shook, her whole body shook. "But take it here, please. Vesper knows about you now. If you leave, he'll use you to destroy me. And I can't." Her voice broke again. "I can't watch another person I care about burn. I've seen enough fire for one lifetime." Kai nodded, slowly. Not forgiveness, not yet. But maybe, the beginning of understanding. He walked past Rhea, back into the base. She watched him go, still crying, still standing in the dark tunnel with Juno, who looked profoundly uncomfortable with her boss's display of emotion. After Kai disappeared around the corner, Juno spoke quietly. "Boss, are you—" "No," Rhea whispered. She slid down the wall, sitting on the cold concrete floor. "I'm not okay, and I might never be again." "What are you going to do?" "I don't know." Rhea buried her face in her hands. "For 6 years, I've known exactly what to do. Revenge was simple, clear. A straight line from pain to justice. But this," she looked up. "How do I choose between revenge and love? How do I let go of 6 years of planning? 6 years of rage?" "I don't know, boss." Juno sat down beside her, an uncharacteristic gesture of solidarity. "But maybe the kid's worth more than revenge. Maybe he's worth choosing a different path. And if I choose wrong, if I lose him anyway, then at least you tried. At least you chose something other than fire for once." They sat in silence, 2 women who'd survived through violence, wondering if there was any other way to live. 2 weeks of cold silence. Kai trained, ate, slept, avoided Rhea. She let him, gave him space, but her eyes followed him everywhere, haunted, hopeful, hurting in ways that made even Juno uncomfortable. The base felt different now. Tension hung in the air like humidity before a storm. Everyone could feel it. The way Rhea moved like a ghost through the corridors. The way Kai trained like he was trying to punish his body for his heart's mistakes. Mara pulled him aside one afternoon. "Whatever happened between you and boss, fix it. She's unraveling. And when she unravels, people die." "She used me." "She did." Mara didn't sugarcoat it. "But she also saved you, trained you, gave you a life worth living." People are complicated, especially people who've been broken as badly as she has. What happened to her? Not my story to tell. Mara walked away. Then Vesper made his move. It started with a message, a severed finger delivered in a black box, small, delicate, belonging to someone young. Attached, a note written in blood. "The Korean boy dies at midnight. Come alone, Ember Queen. Let's finish what we started 6 years ago. Same place, same fire, different ending. The address, an old warehouse on the edge of Seoul." The same place where Ria's organization had burned, where 37 people died, where her family turned to ash. Juno read the note and went pale. It's a trap. Obviously. Ria's voice was flat, empty. All emotion drained from her face. She looked like a woman preparing to die. But I'm going. He'll end you. Maybe, but he'll definitely end Kai if I don't show. Ria checked her weapons with mechanical precision. 2 guns, 4 knives, enough ammunition to start a small war. Tell the others to stay here. This is my fight. My responsibility, my penance. Boss, that's an order, Juno. But Kai had heard. He stepped into the room, already armed with weapons he'd taken from the training area. I'm coming with you. No, not asking permission. Kai's voice was hard, cold, but underneath, desperation. If he wants me, he can have me, but on my terms. I choose how this ends. Their eyes met, the first real eye contact in 2 weeks. Something passed between them. Understanding, acceptance, recognition that they were in this together, whether they wanted to be or not. Together then, Ria said quietly, we end this together. Juno started to protest. Ria silenced her with a look. If we don't come back, the organization dissolves. Distribute the assets. Help people relocate. No more revenge. No more fire. Promise me. Boss, promise me, Juno. I promise. They left in the black SUV, silent, weapons ready. Hearts heavy with the weight of everything unsaid. The warehouse sat like a rotting corpse against the night sky. Kai and Ria moved through the dark, weapons drawn, every sense heightened. Inside, the smell of gasoline hung heavy in the air. Deliberate, intentional. Vesper wanted fire. He wanted to recreate the night he'd destroyed everything Ria loved. Wanted to watch her burn the way he'd watched her family burn. Ember Queen, Vesper's voice echoed from the 2nd floor. Theatrical, cruel. So good of you to come. And you brought the boy. How romantic. How inspirational, really. 2 broken things trying to be whole. Ria stepped into the open. Kai followed, staying close to her side. Vesper stood on a catwalk above, grinning like a man who'd already won. Behind him, 4 men, armed, professional. Let's make this interesting, Vesper said. He pulled a lighter from his pocket, flipped it open. Flame danced in his palm. You have 5 minutes before I drop this. Then we all burn together. Unless, he pointed at Kai, unless you end him first, complete your original mission. Prove you're still the ruthless Ember Queen I remember. Prove love hasn't made you weak. Ria raised her gun slowly, deliberately. But she didn't point it at Vesper. She pointed it at Kai. Kai's chest tightened. His breath stopped. Ria, forgive me, she whispered. Her hand didn't shake. Her eyes were clear, certain. Forgive me for what I'm about to do. She fired. The bullet whizzed past Kai's head, so close he felt the heat, felt the displacement of air, and hit one of Vesper's men in the throat. Clean, professional. The guard dropped, choking, gone in seconds. Vesper's grin widened. Close, but not close enough, my dear. He dropped the lighter. Fire erupted below, gasoline igniting in a wave of heat and light that turned night into day. Flames raced up support beams with terrible hunger. The warehouse transformed into an inferno within seconds. Heat rolled over them in waves. Vesper and his remaining men opened fire. Bullets rained down. Ria and Kai dove for cover behind old shipping crates. Wood splintered. Metal pinged. Somewhere, someone screamed. We need to move, Kai shouted over the gunfire and the roar of flames. No. Ria's voice was strange, distant, like she was somewhere else, somewhere 6 years ago. I need to end this. I need to finish it. She stepped out of cover, reckless, almost suicidal, and returned fire. Her movements were fluid, perfect, years of training and rage combined. 1 man down, 2. But Vesper escaped up a ladder to the roof, laughing as he climbed. Ria chased him without hesitation. Kai followed, fear clawing at his chest. On the rooftop, smoke billowed up through gaps in the structure. The city sprawled below, unaware of the violence happening above. Stars hid behind clouds. The moon was a thin sliver of light. Vesper turned, gun raised, blood on his shirt from a graze. You should have stayed gone, Ria. Should have let the past burn. The past never burns, Ria said. It just smolders and waits. They fired simultaneously. Both missed, both charged. Kai reached them just as they collided. 3 bodies tangling, fists flying, the world reduced to violence and heat, and the terrible certainty that someone wasn't walking away from this roof alive. Vesper was bigger, stronger, trained by the same people who'd trained Ria. They were evenly matched, perfectly balanced. A dance of death they'd been choreographing for 6 years. Vesper broke free, swinging wildly. His fist connected with Kai's jaw. Stars exploded behind Kai's eyes. He stumbled. Vesper kicked. Kai fell, rolling toward the edge of the roof. The 3-story drop gaped below him. Ria screamed. The sound was primal, terrified. She tackled Vesper, driving him away from Kai. They grappled. Her knife came out. His gun rose. Metal scraped. Someone grunted. Kai got to his feet, vision blurred, jaw throbbing. He saw Ria on top of Vesper, knife pressed to his throat. 1 push and it would be over. Do it, Vesper hissed. Blood trickled from his mouth. Prove you're still a monster. Prove love hasn't destroyed you. Ria's hand shook. The knife trembled against Vesper's skin. I am a monster, but not today, not anymore. She stood, pulling back, pulling away from the revenge she'd craved for 6 years. Vesper lunged for his gun. Kai was faster. He kicked the weapon away, sending it skittering across the roof. Then he grabbed Vesper by the collar and slammed him against the roof's low wall, pinning him there with strength, born from weeks of training. This is for everyone you hurt, Kai said. Then he looked at Ria. But I'm not ending him for you. We call the police. We let justice handle him. Real justice, not revenge. Justice, Vesper spat blood. There's no justice for people like us. Maybe not, Ria said quietly. She pulled out her phone. But there's accountability. There's choosing to be better than what was done to us. She started to dial, but Vesper made one last desperate move. He grabbed a knife hidden in his boot and lunged at Ria with the last of his strength. Time slowed. Kai saw the blade, saw where it was aimed. Ria's heart, Ria's life. He moved without thinking, pushed Ria aside, the knife buried in his shoulder instead of her heart. Deep, burning, agonizing. Kai gasped. White-hot agony exploded through his body like lightning. His vision went white, then red. He stumbled. Vesper yanked the blade free, wet, horrible sound, and raised it for another strike. Ria shot him, point blank, center mass. No hesitation. Vesper fell, gone before he hit the ground. The revenge that had consumed 6 years of Ria's life ended in a single bullet. Kai collapsed. Rhea caught him. They sank together onto the rooftop, flames rising around them, smoke choking the air, sirens wailing in the distance. No, no, no. Rhea pressed her hands to Kai's wound. Blood poured between her fingers. Warm. Too much. Stay with me. Stay with me. Don't you dare leave me now. I'm okay, Kai managed, his voice weak. Shoulder, not fatal. You stupid, brave, beautiful fool. Tears streamed down her face. Why did you do that? Why? Because you matter more than revenge. Kai's vision blurred. More than justice, more than my own life. You matter, Rhea. Rhea pulled him close, supporting his weight. Around them, the roof began to buckle, groaning, cracking. The warehouse was dying. They needed to move. Release me, Kai whispered suddenly. Delirious, hurt. Blood loss making him say things he'd been holding in. I'm not your knife. I'm not your weapon. Rhea's chest heaved. Her voice shattered. You were never a knife, never a weapon. You were my... She bit her lip, swallowing the last word, then said it anyway. You were everything. You are everything. They needed to move. The structure wouldn't hold much longer. But neither had the strength to stand. Do you hate me? Rhea asked. For the plan? For what I was going to do? I hate you, Kai said, his voice barely audible over the flames. Because I still love you. Hate and love. Can't separate them anymore. Rhea sobbed. If you die, I will burn too. I'll walk into these flames and let them take me. Then don't let me die. Strength found her. Desperation gave her power. Rhea hauled Kai to his feet. They stumbled toward the fire escape, bodies colliding, supporting each other. Fire glinted off their skin. Each step was agony. Each breath was victory. They made it down just as the roof collapsed behind them in a shower of sparks and ash. Juno and Mara appeared from nowhere. They'd followed despite orders, helping them to the waiting SUV. Rhea cradled Kai in the back seat, pressing her jacket to his wound, whispering things he couldn't quite hear but felt in his bones. Please, please, don't leave me. I choose you. I choose you. I choose you. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and hope. Kai woke to white walls and soft beeping. His shoulder throbbed, stitched, bandaged, healing. He tried to sit up. A hand gently pushed him back down. Rhea. She sat beside his bed, eyes red from crying, still wearing soot-stained clothes. She'd refused to leave. The nurses told her to go home. She'd said this was home, wherever he was. Hey, Kai said, his voice rough. Hey. She took his hand. How do you feel? Like I got stabbed. You did. Then I feel appropriately terrible. Rhea laughed. It came out broken, but real. We need to talk, Kai said. I know. Really talk. No running, no avoiding. Just truth. Rhea nodded. She looked terrified. Kai took a breath. I read the file. I know you planned to end me, and part of me, a big part, wants to hate you for that. I understand. But the other part remembers you stopping in the rain, teaching me to fight, holding me through nightmares, crying when I ran. He met her eyes. The other part sees someone who's been hurt so badly, she forgot how to trust, including herself. Tears spilled down Rhea's cheeks. I don't deserve your forgiveness. Maybe not, but you have it anyway. Kai shifted, wincing. On one condition, anything. No more operations, no more violence. We build something new, something clean. He squeezed her hand. Together, as equals. Rhea's voice shuddered out. I already started. I turned over all of Vesper's operations to the authorities, gave them names, locations, everything. Juno's helping people relocate who want out. Mara's opening a legitimate security training center. The organization is dissolving. And you? I'm done. She pressed her forehead to their joined hands. I'm done burning. I want to build instead. Build what? A life with you. She looked up. If you'll have me, knowing what I am, what I've done. Kai pulled her closer, kissed her forehead. I don't want who you were. I want who you're becoming. A better person? A free one. They stayed like that, holding each other, two people forged in fire, choosing to cool into something gentler. 6 months later, the cafe was small, cozy. Kai worked behind the counter, mastering the art of espresso. Ria handled the books in the back. Legal business, clean money, simple dreams. They'd bought the place in a quiet neighborhood, far from the night markets and the alleys and the warehouses that held too many ghosts. Here, life moved slower, kinder. The bell over the door chimed. A young woman entered with her mother, Hannah, 11 years old. She'd been caught in the crossfire that terrible night at the warehouse, grabbed by Vesper's men as leverage, but escaped in the chaos when Juno and Mara arrived. Her mother had found Kai afterward, thanking him through tears for creating the distraction that saved her daughter's life. They'd become friends, family almost. My usual? Hannah asked, grinning. Hot chocolate, extra marshmallows, coming right up. While Kai made the drink, Ria emerged from the back. She'd let her hair grow longer, softer. The hardness in her eyes had gentled to something warmer. Hannah's mother hugged Ria. Thank you for everything. We didn't do much. You saved my daughter. You saved yourselves. That's everything. After they left, Kai and Ria closed up shop. They walked home hand in hand through streets painted gold by sunset. Their apartment was modest, 1 bedroom, a kitchen that smelled like the Korean stew Kai made twice a week, photos on the walls, new memories, happy ones. On the mantel, Hannah had drawn them a picture, 2 figures holding hands under a rainbow, caption in crayon, "My heroes." Inspirational, isn't it? Ria said softly. It is, Kai agreed. Makes me think we're doing something right. We're trying, that's all we can do. That night, lying in bed, Kai thought about how far they'd come. From the rain and the blood to this. Quiet domesticity, safety, love. Do you ever miss it? He asked. The power, the control? Ria was quiet for a moment. Sometimes, but then I look at you, and I remember what real power is. What's that? Choosing love every day. That's harder than pulling a trigger, and it means more. She kissed his shoulder, the scarred one. You taught me that. Kai smiled in the dark. We taught each other. Outside, rain began to fall. Soft, gentle, nothing like the storm that had brought them together. But rain nonetheless. White smoke from the cafe's chimney rose into the night sky. And beneath these quiet walls, 2 hands reached for each other in the dark, found each other, held on. They'd both perished in the fire, the people they used to be. But they'd come back to life, together, as something new, as partners, as equals, as love worth living for. Real romance isn't about perfect people. It's about broken people choosing to heal together. That's the most motivational truth love teaches us. If this story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what does real love look like to you? We read every single one, and we'll be here tomorrow night with another story of love, justice, and second chances. Until then, stay warm, stay kind, and remember, you're never too broken to be loved.